extra time.
Joe, what different threats do you think Pakistan will pose compared to the West Indies?
Well, I think they've got a very talented bowling group, similar to the West Indies. They've got some very good seamers and some experienced leg spinners as well within the squad. So there'll be different challenges, ball spinning away from the bat for the right-handers for one. And the seam attack, it'll have a slightly different makeup. You've got left arm angles within their squad. Some raw pace and some young talent that we won't have seen and come across before in Test match cricket. And then you've got wily campaigners like Mohammad Abbas, who's proven on previous tours here and in county cricket that he knows the conditions very well and will look to exploit some lateral movement. So in terms of their bowling, we know that they pose a lot of challenges, but we're very aware of that and we'll look to counter that the best we can. And I think it's really important for us. We're aware of everything that they'll have and throw at us, but ultimately we continue to keep looking at our own games and our own plans and find ways of making big scores.
And do you feel as if, having played a Test series now under these conditions, that does give you a little bit of an advantage, despite the fact that Pakistan are more used to playing behind closed doors than probably most others, and the fact that they've been a bit of a bogey team for England in recent years?
Yeah, we know that they're a very good side. They've come over here since 2008 and we've been unable to win a series, here and abroad. So we know that they're a very difficult side for us to play against and that they've had a lot of success in English conditions of late. So they've got some fantastic players. They've done some special things here, but we're playing some very good cricket at the minute. And we're full of confidence in playing as well as we have done for a while. We are used to playing in this environment, as you mentioned, having 3 games under our belt now as a team, and feel we're starting to emulate our game plan more consistently. And that the challenge for us will continue to keep trying to nail that as much as possible, to keep looking to get better at doing that over and over and over again, become more consistent. And we've got a big focus on starting well this week. As mentioned, we're all very aware that in previous series we've not got off to the best starts. And we've been 1-0 down, and we want a real focus this time round of trying to get a win early on and then drive the series from there.
Joe, is it fair to say with the family situation at home, you haven't been spending 24 hours a day pondering the makeup of your 11?
In between changing nappies, and it has popped into my mind a few times. But it was so nice for everyone to get home, I think, spend a bit of time in familiar surroundings, around loved ones, and to get refreshed. I think this environment can take a lot out of you mentally, and to get that little reset and a chance to get home was massive for everyone. And, you look around the group now and feel that everyone's gained a lot from that and feel that they're ready to go again. So in terms of selection, I couldn't be happier to have so many headaches, to be honest, and for us as a side to have so much strength and depth in a number of areas now. It's really pleasing, and long may that continue.
In terms of Ben and trying to work out where he's at, is it harder with Ben than with some? Because, just looking at the way he hairs after a ball off his own bowling when you've got 4 or 5 slips in, it's kind of hard to work out where he's at physically, I imagine, because his answer is probably always 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's like telling him after 9 overs on the bounce not to bowl. Try and take the ball out of his hand is very difficult. He's so committed to the team and to the cause that he will always put his body on the line. And it's, I suppose, the more he's played and the older he's got, the more mature he's got, he has got better at understanding that there are limitations to what he can do sometimes, even though those limitations are probably further for him than a lot of other players. He's definitely matured in that aspect and knows how important he is within our group and what an asset he is moving forward. And he's definitely getting better at looking after himself. And I think it's really important that we look after him well as well.
Hi, Joe. Even if Ben's only able to play as a specialist batsman again, I just wondered, do you think in terms of Pakistan, there will still be a fear factor there in terms of what he can do to them in this Test match?
Yeah, no, I think even if he doesn't start the game, if we were to go the same balanced side as we did in the last game, for example, it might be that he could bowl in the second innings. So we might see him at some point throughout the game. We just need to make sure that we're very clear on where he is physically. But of course, I think you look at how he's performed, with the bat alone, and what he can do in the field. I think it's quite evident that he poses a huge threat against any side at the moment. That the runs that he's scoring and the way he's playing, and the different methods that he can play as well. You look at he can absorb pressure for long periods of time now. He's shown as well that he can score at 10 and over. So I'm sure that sides around the world will look at him as a batter alone and think, this guy's a serious player and we want his wicket, because if he gets going and he gets in, he can really hurt.
What do you know about Naseem Shah? Have you spoken to any of the Aussies or anyone who's faced him?
I haven't spoken to anyone about him. I've watched a lot of footage. Very exciting prospect. Looks like he's very skillful, got a bit of pace. So, you just have to get out there and try and gauge it. You don't really know. I mean, you can speak to people as much as you want and watch as much footage. Until you get out there and you get a feel for it, you don't really know what you're up against. So it's important that we just start well as a group against him and individually, know what he's going to try and do, or try and have an idea of what he's going to do beforehand, and play every ball on merit.
I think excluding the Ireland match, it's now 5 series in a row where England have lost the first test. Are you sort of able to put your finger on it for what's caused the slow start? And do you accept that if given you're now coming into this series on the back of 3 tests, that there's sort of less reason to have a poor start?
Yeah, it's something that we want to get right this week. I mentioned that earlier. It is disappointing. It's always hard work when you feel like you're behind the game within the series, and we want to make sure that we start well this time round. Fortunately, we've got 3 games under our belt coming into this, and we've played some really good cricket in the last 2. So guys are up to speed. We're familiar with the rhythm of Test cricket, and there is no excuse really going into this week. But it's something that we want to get right. We're very aware of it, and I think more importantly, we've just got to make sure that we play the conditions, the situation, what's in front of us, well for long periods of time, as we did in the last 2 games.
My question is, given that England have already played 3 test matches against West Indies, do you think you have an advantage over Pakistan in terms of match time?
Yeah, I think so. I think that naturally, having played some more cricket, some competitive cricket, some high intense test cricket will definitely serve us well going into this series, and then probably gives a little bit of a head start. I think obviously as well, playing in our own conditions and having good success at this ground and the previous 2 test matches will fill our group with a huge amount of confidence. I think it's really important that we don't take that for granted, and we're very aware that Pakistan are a very talented team and will be very much up for this series. And we don't sort of stroll into this game. We're very much on it from the start. But I do feel that should play in our favour slightly, yeah.
Hit the subscribe option and the bell icon to get all the exclusive sports videos on Extra Time.